Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I hope you are having a fantastic day. This is actually the third in-depth candle review that I am sharing here on my channel today. If you missed the first two videos, I'll go ahead and link them in the description box right below this video here. I did review Country Candle Mandarin Petals as well as Golden Vanilla from Scentworks a little bit earlier in the day. So if you're interested in my thoughts regarding either of those two fragrances, definitely feel free to check those out after this video here. But in this video, we are discussing a new spring summer fragrance from Kringle Candle for 2025. And this one here is definitely one that has grown on me a little bit over the last couple of weeks here. At first, I really wasn't that into it, but it's again one of those where the more that I have given it a chance, the more I've actually come to really enjoy this one. So anyway, if you are interested in Spanish Moss, I'll go ahead and put a link at the top of the description box as well as a discount code that'll save you 15% over at Kringle Candle. My affiliate discount code is Melanie15, and you can just pop that into the coupon section at checkout and it'll save you at least 15% off at Kringle Candle. So, all right, you guys, let's dig into this one. I actually have a comparison for this particular fragrance. Now, it's not a comparison from me personally. Somebody else has also, one of my subscribers actually has also purchased this fragrance and compared it to a Voluspa scent. So I'll give you that reference here as we're talking about the fragrance description. First, let's tackle that description, then we'll get into the strength and the throw, and then, of course, as always, address any burn issues that have popped up up until this point. So, all right, the description here reads, Spanish Moss, the classic appeal of creamy magnolia intertwines with notes of earthy Spanish moss-laden trees warmed with whispers of leafy patchouli and crushed cedar. The top notes here are floral and aromatic, the mid notes are moss and wood, and the base is patchouli and musk. Is this a pretty heavy fragrance for the springtime? Yes. In fact, I'm really surprised that they released something like this for the spring and the summer. Typically, when I am selecting my home fragrance for the spring and summertime, I lean into lighter fragrances. I love fruity scents. I still love my gourmands, but the gourmands tend to be a little bit lighter. So, you know, anything that resembles a pie, a cake, or a cookie that maybe has the addition of a fruit fragrance note or something like that, that's definitely what I kind of personally gravitate towards. Even florals, I'm starting to get into the florals a little bit more the older I get. But this is not the type of fragrance that I would at all normally consider for this time of year. I think this would actually be a really lovely option for not only the fall, but especially around Halloween. I think this would make a great Halloween scent. Change the label, and I think this would be perfect for that time of the year. So in terms of these fragrance notes, what is it that I'm really picking up? I feel like this reference here in the description to a creamy magnolia is a little bit deceiving. I don't think there's anything creamy about this scent. And honestly, that one floral note, which I do smell the magnolia, it's really not the star here. And I wouldn't call it creamy. It's just a nice, you know, I would say hint of magnolia in the background. The bulk of what I'm getting here is that mossy note. I'm getting a lot of woodiness as well. The wood that I smell is definitely cedar. It is very much straight up cedar. And the patchouli here is, I think, the most interesting aspect to my nose. I have always said that when it comes to patchouli, I definitely have a strong preference for the more perfumey patchouli. rather than that more earthy patchouli. This is very much an earthy patchouli. There is nothing perfumey about this particular scent at all to my nose. But I actually really like this one particular. Don't get me wrong, you are not going to be seeing a bunch of earthy patchouli scents popping up here on my channel in terms of reviews. But this one particular more earthy patchouli, I think, is probably the most palatable and, dare I say, enjoyable that I've ever personally come across. I do think that if you typically are not a fan of earthy patchouli, you might want to not consider this one. It is quite present and it's not subtle, but it works with that moss and it works really well with that cedar. Now you get that little bit of reprieve from that heavier like moss, patchouli, cedar trio there with that little hint of magnolia, but I don't want to even really classify this as even a remotely floral fragrance. It is way more, I do think aromatic is probably the best description for it. It's way more aromatic, it's way more woody than it is floral. So the scent itself, while it is not in my usual wheelhouse, I've kind of come to like this one. And here's the comparison that I have for you. So I cannot remember for the life of me who told me this. I think it may have been Kelly. I can't remember. Please take credit in the comments down below if it was you who told me about Spanish moss, smelling very similar to the Luspa temple moss. Oddly enough, I've actually had temple moss in my cart over at Bloomingdale's in one of their One Wick Classic jars for a little while now. I've just been really intrigued by it. So hearing that this Kringle Spanish Moss is very close in terms of the overall scent to temple moss, that actually has me feeling a lot more confident about actually purchasing temple moss. Now that I know that it kind of smells like this, I think I'm probably gonna love the temple moss. Luspa fragrances are really beautiful. I love their vessels. I think they have some of the most beautiful vessels. But I am definitely becoming a little bit more interested in these types of fragrances. Now, I will say, now that I know that it is just a very earthy type of scent, and not as maybe green as I thought it was gonna be, I'm probably gonna hold off on purchasing temple moss until the fall. But I will still be picking it up. So if you're looking for maybe a less expensive version of temple moss, maybe you might want to consider the Spanish moss here. This is available in all of the different formats. So the 3-wick painted tumblers, the 2-wick jars that I have here, the 4-wick, also the daylights and the wax melts are available. So if you just want to try this one out, I would say start with the daylight or the wax melts. That way, if it just is a little too earthy for you, no big loss. You're not stuck with a significantly larger size that you're gonna probably struggle to get through. Strength and throw here is just, it's kind of perfect for this specific type of scent. I would put the strength of this probably kind of waffling between a 7 and an 8. Let's call it a 7.5. It is quite potent in terms of its like space filling capabilities. This does spill out into other areas of the house whenever I have it lit. Even when I try to confine this to my dining room, this scent escapes that particular room. The dining room is the one room in the downstairs of our house that really is a great test in terms of whether a candle is potent enough to be able to travel. The other rooms are much more open concept to each other, so things, you know, kind of flow out a little bit more easily, but this one here escapes my dining room. So I think the potency is there. Strength and throw, like I said, about a 7.5, let's put it there. So good strength and throw. In terms of any burn issues, there are none. There's none. I typically rarely have issues when it comes to these 2-wick jars from Kringle here. I, on average, would say have burned this particular fragrance for about maybe 4 hours at a time. I can certainly let it go a little bit longer, but after about 4 hours, I feel like that's enough and I'm ready to move on to something else. But I'll turn this to the side here so that you can see that nice clean burn that has been happening. That is a full wax pool there. So this candle has been lit for 2 hours now. You can see that is a really nice deep pool. The wicks are holding up perfectly. These wicks are properly spaced. So the burn has been pretty perfect. I do have to trim the wicks between each burn, but I only trim off the very top. This one does not get those huge mushroom tops, so no issues there. Overall, just a clean, great burn that I can leave lit for up to 4 hours very easily, but I'm pretty sure I could probably get another hour or two even beyond that. So it's a really great performance, you guys. I have no complaints, and I'm really glad that this is similar to that Temple Moss, because it makes me a little bit more secure in making that purchase at Bloomingdale's when the time comes. So just to wrap it up here really quickly, I've really come to enjoy this one. I think this is a really unique, kind of interesting fragrance. I don't really think of it as either a spring or summer type of scent, but if you like these slightly heavier scents during the spring and summer, this one might be worth considering for you, or you could also hold off until the fall to purchase it as well. This should be sticking around in their lineup. Nothing has sold out yet at this point, so I imagine if you want to wait to pick this one up in the fall, you should probably easily be able to do it then as well. But it is a great candle with a solid performance. The strength and throw are a solid medium. There have been no burn issues, and for me personally, it's been kind of nice to enjoy something that is a little bit outside of the norm. I really like this one, and I also like the fact that it is somewhat similar to that Valispa Temple Moss, apparently. Anyway, for what it's worth, those are my thoughts. If you are new to my channel and you're interested in more of this type of home fragrance related content, or candle hauls, or my weekly home fragrance roundup, make sure you hit that subscribe button before checking out of this video today. If you found this particular video helpful, don't forget to give it a big fat thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.